Hi, my name is Sharon from Tiny Trends LA. Today, I'll be showing you how to take a basic everyday shirt and with some fun fabric prints, turning it into a tiny little dress. So let's get started. Okay, so before we get started, let's go over everything you'll be needing for this project. You'll be needing a basic shirt, it's long sleeve or short sleeve, it's up to you. About a yard of fabric. In this case, I'm going to be combing out 3 different prints. So it's up to you once again. And I'll be using 3/4 inch bias binding tape as an extra detail for my dress. I'll also be using a couple items for my sewing starter kit as well as my sewing machine. Just in case you need it, I've included links in the description below. So let's move on. Okay, so let's get started with cutting. The first thing we're going to be cutting is our shirt. So we're going to be measuring 3 inches down from the armhole. And using your tailor's chalk, measure it out, mark it 3 inches. And before I actually cut my shirt off, I'm going to be measuring it because I need this measurement for my skirt. So my shirt is actually measuring 12 and 3/8 of an inch. So now taking my ruler, I'm going to go ahead and mark a straight line, and using my pinking shears, I'm going to be cutting off my shirt. Okay, now go ahead and save your scrap. We're going to come back to this. I'll give you a quick little pointer on a detail you can do with the scrap of your fabric. So you should now have something that looks like this. Go ahead and put that off to the side. Okay, so next we're going to be cutting the panels of our skirt. So I'm actually going to be doing this little combo with a contrasting fabric in the center and 2 self panels on the outside. So our waist measurement was 12 and 3/8 of an inch. We're going to take that measurement and we're going to double it to get a 2-to-1 sharing ratio. So our measurement is going to be 24 and 3/4 of an inch. So now we're going to take that measurement and you're going to divide it by 3 for each of your 3 panels in the front. And you should have a measurement about 8 and 1/4 of an inch. But you're going to take that measurement and you're going to add some seam allowance to it. So you're going to need 1/2 inch seam allowance on both sides of your panel. So your final measurement is going to be 9 and 1/4 of an inch per panel you cut. So you're going to need a total of 3 panels in the front and 3 panels in the back, and your measurements on all your panels should be the same. So the first thing I'm going to mark on my fabric is going to be my panels. So you should have 9 and 1/4 of an inch going across per panel. And I folded my fabric in half and I have it facing face to face on the print. So I should be able to cut 4 patterns out at the same time. The next measurement is going to be your length measurement. So you're actually going to measure out 18 inches per length on your panel. You're going to be using 1/2 inch on top for your seam allowance on your waist, and your bottom is going to be a 1/4 inch rolled over twice for your hem. So that's another 1/2 inch. And your final skirt measurement should be 17 inches. Now this is the part where it's totally up to you. If you want to do an inch wide hem, 2 inches, you would add the needed length according to the hem you would like. So let's go ahead and cut out our panels for our skirt. Now I did forget to mention that I am working with the size 5T shirt. So these measurements pertain to that size of a shirt. If you're working with a smaller size top, you're going to have to adjust your skirt length according to the garment you're working with. Okay, so let's cut our panels out. And I'm going to be cutting them using my pinking shears just to help avoid fraying on my side seams as well as my waist, especially on your waist because we will be shearing. So go ahead and use your pinking shears for these. Now the bottom portion of your skirt, I went ahead and cut mine out using my regular shears, so I'm going to leave it as an edge that's straight without the pinking. It's totally up to you if you want to use your pinking shears for it as well. There's no difference in it. So you should now have 4 panels. This is 1. Move this out of the way. We have our outer panels, and I have pre-cut my center contrasting panel. So now we're going to take these, we're going to join them with some straight pins, and with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, you're going to go ahead and join all these panels together. Okay, now that you've joined all your seams together, you should have something that looks like this. All right, so next we're going to press all our seams open, and we're also going to be pressing our hem. So once your seams are pressed open, you're taking your iron, you're going to roll up 1/4 inch 2 times. You should have something that looks like this. So let's go ahead and press those out. Okay, so now that your hem has been pressed down, you should have something that looks like this. Your seams neatly pressed, your hem folded and pressed as well. Go ahead and top stitch it. And while you're top stitching your hem, you're also going to be doing your gathers for the top portion of your skirt. So using a base stitch, you're going to do 2 rows, 1 1/8 inch away from your pinking shear line, and the second one 1/4 inch down. So you should have a spacing of 1/8 between both those rows. Make sure to leave a long enough tail on the end of your thread, just so you can pull it through and create your gathers. Okay, so let's do that and we'll be right back. Okay, you should now have something that looks like this. Taking the tail end of your threads, go ahead and hold that down and pull, and you should be able to pull your fabric all the way down, creating your gathers. So what you want to make sure to do is you want to make sure that your gathers, every panel measures about 4 1/8 of an inch. Next, you're going to take your little top portion of your dress, and with your measuring tape, you're going to mark out 4 1/8 of an inch twice. That is dividing your 12 3/8 measurement into 3 sections. Now your panels should fit right into that measurement. Don't know if you can see that there, but it should fit right in, and this is going to be our proper spacing, so our center panel falls directly in the middle. So taking our binding, I'm going to attach a piece of this bias in between all my layers, between my shirt and my skirt, just because I want a little 1/4 of an inch to stick out and add an extra detail to my dress. So I'm going to take my binding, and I accidentally bought a double fold tape, so I cut it down in half just to remove some of that bulk. So I'll make sure to include the proper length for the correct bias tape for this project. So I'm going to take that and place it there, and my skirt over that measurement. And using some straight pins, go ahead and pin these together. Okay, you should now have something that looks like this. Make sure that your gathers are evenly distributed all along your skirt and your panels, just so that it lays nicely once it's attached. So using a 1/2 inch seam allowance with a zigzag stitch, go ahead and stitch your skirt and your bodice together, as well as your binding if you're using some. So make sure you catch all 3 layers of that when you're stitching it all down. So let's go ahead and do that and be right back. Okay, now that your skirt is attached, you should have something that looks like this. Super cute, right? So now you can go ahead and add some details to make this dress your own and very fun, very unique, very much whatever you like. So I've created a little floppy bow, which you can add at the shoulder seam, you can add it at the waist. It's really up to you how you want to decorate your dress. So I've actually created a floppy bow. It's a 4 1/2 inch wide strip of fabric by 12 1/2, folded in half, sewn down the bottom, and just fold the long strip in half and join it with a piece of bias binding. So you can attach that at your shoulder seam, bringing your strip of binding inward and top stitching it to hold in place. You can go ahead and tack it underneath just so your floppy bow hangs and looks really cute onto your garment. So this is option 1. Option 2 would be you can create a ruffle using the leftover fabric from your shirt. So the ruffle width size would really be up to you. Go ahead and shear it down the center with a base stitch. Once you have what you like, you can go ahead and add it along your neckline to give it an extra little detail, just like this. Go ahead and zigzag that on, or you can go ahead and add some pockets, any size, any width you would like. I created these big looking pockets, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and actually place these on my garment. And they're just really big, and I'm actually gonna center them between both my panels so that they lay flat like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the bow as well as the pockets. I'm gonna place them on my garment and we'll be right back. Okay, so there you have it, your cute little dress with a floppy bow and some cute little pockets on the side. So we're actually going to be giving away this very dress via Instagram, so make sure you're following us at Tiny Trends LA. And I personally would love to see the photos of your dresses, so make sure to tag us on those. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.